a lot of times I'll be in a situation where I'm out in public with celebrities, and it's interesting to see how they all react when they're out in the public. I remember I think it was in '95 or so when we were putting Boyz II Men's recording studio together. Me and Nate Morris, we went over to IKEA to buy some furniture and that. And at that point, I mean, he Boys to Men were on top of the charts constantly, so he was very recognizable. But we walked into the IKEA. This was in Philadelphia, and we bought some things. And he always had his baseball hat on and kind of kept his eyes down low. And we were walking out, and everything seemed to be cool. Nobody bothered us. And he pulled his SUV up so we could put the stuff in there. And he started whispering to me. He says, "Uh-oh, we're in trouble." And I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Let's hurry up and pack it up." And I'm trying as fast as I can to get things into the SUV, and more and more and more people are kind of gathering around and staring at him. And he said, "We got to get out of here." And it turned into a little crowd, but luckily enough, we got everything packed in and we got out of there. So, he was safe. We had no security or anything around us. So that was one interesting celebrity thing. I was at a studio one time with Jazzy Jeff, and me and him were standing outside, and there was a bunch of young kids, 10 years old, 12 years old, and they were walking by, and I go, "Okay, this is going to be interesting." So they all walked up to Jazzy Jeff, and they said, "You're Jazzy Jeff, aren't you?" And he goes, "Yes." And that was the end of the conversation. They said, "Oh, okay." And they just kept walking. So nothing happened. And I thought that was, no one really bothers him in the public. And it's kind of interesting. But I thought the most interesting encounter I had, Will Smith came to visit me over at Medley Music. And there was a music store, and then across the parking lot was my office in a separate building. So I was in my office, and I get they on the conference, they called me and said, "Oh, Will Smith's in here to see you." I go, "Okay." So it doesn't faze me because I've known Will forever, and he's from Philly, and he could be in the store, and he wanted to see me. So I walked down there to see him, and I'm talking to him, and there's crowds kind of building outside. And this is just as he was getting pretty famous. I think he had a couple movies already done. He had done Independence Day and that. And we were talking, and he was asking me some questions about a console and all that. And people kept coming up to him and wanting to talk to him. And I thought he handled this really nicely. He told each person, he said, "What's your name?" And he says, "I will talk to you before I leave, I promise." And he got the name from a lady that was in the accounting, and then there was another guitar player who wanted to talk to him. And I talked to him about what he wanted. I answered his questions, and I said, "Okay, I'm going to go to my office." And I said, "If you want, come on over. I'll show you what I'm doing over there." And he said, "All right." And he came over, and my office had like a separate entrance, and it was up on the second floor, and it was just my office and my assistant's office right next to me. So he came upstairs, and first thing he starts yelling at me. He said, "You're out of shape. You should be in shape." He said, you gotta get into shape." And I go, "Ah." I said, "Here," I showed him a picture of my daughter that I had on my desk. I said, "This is why I'm out of shape, because I'm taking care of her. I'm not, exercising." He said, "Oh, okay, that's cool." And we were talking about Pro Tools, and I showed him a Pro Control I had in my office, and then we were just sitting there talking for a while. And then he left my office, and he went back over to the music store, and there was a huge crowd outside. But the thing that he did that I thought was very interesting, every single person that he said, "I will find you and I will talk to you before I leave," he went and looked them up. He found the guitar player, he found the lady in the accounting. I think they wanted autographs or something like that, and he gave it to them, and then he left. And I said, "That's very classy of him to do that." So that was kind of my thing about how celebrities handle themselves out in the public. I've been in the public with Boyz II Men too, all four of them, and they're very soft-spoken and polite and accommodating, but they usually have security around, and it's people are kind of kept at a distance. But I've been with these guys when there is no security, and you got to see their true colors, and I think all of them did very well.